This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
I will now remember the works of the Lord and declare the things that I have seen. In the words of the Lord are his works. The sun that giveth light looketh upon all things, and the work thereof is full of the glory of the Lord. The Lord hath not given power to the saints to declare all his marvelous works, which the Almighty God firmly settled, that whatsoever is might be established for his glory. Welcome, friends. I'm your host, Zen Garcia. This is Secrets Revealed here on Truth Frequency Radio. I'm honored to have all of you here in fellowship with me for the next 2 hours. And I will be interviewing Carlos Razzo. Carlos, are you there, brother?
Yes, I am.
All right. Hey, we appreciate you taking the time to join us this evening to speak about just your discernment on truth and how you came to the knowledge that many of us are beginning to share with regard to biblical cosmology. And so we'll talk about some of those things, as well as the opposition you have received from your church and the church membership, as well as just those that are the church authorities with regard to different topics you come to discernment on, and also how it is that so many, the awakening, even though it's gaining momentum, there's still so few of us with regard to understanding the enormity of this revelation. And so it's an intriguing time to be alive and to be a holder, a keeper of this kind of wisdom, and the kind of angst that, we have to deal with, and just contending with those that are largely opposed to this particular teaching. But anyways, if you would, just give out, if you have website or contact information, Facebook, YouTube, anything that you'd like to share. Also, I'm assuming that you would be willing to speak with others about your particular testimony, should someone be interested. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, I am, and I'm really happy to be here, and thanks for the invitation. And I just want to share that my name is Carlos Razo, and that's the name of my YouTube channel, on the Facebook, Twitter, so you can find me there if you want. I'm still working on a YouTube page. It's going to be in Spanish, but I'll keep you posted for that in the future. I'm still working on that.
Right on. Yeah, no worries. I know a lot of people are, as far as social media, still continuing with that kind of outreach. But can you tell us kind of the pulse of the Spanish-speaking community? Is there many that are studying or even looking into? Because I know that the literature is, scant as far as the different books, maybe on flat Earth cosmology, or that a lot of the resources are not available.
It is basically non-existent, and that's why we have a lot of work to do ahead of us. And first of all, I want to apologize in advance if my English isn't very good, because I was born in Mexico. So I'm just trying my best, okay? So
you sound good, brother.
To share my testimony, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm a truth seeker since I'm a little kid. I remember when I was like probably 4 or 5, I used to stare at the skies for hours and asking questions, about God and about many things. And I come from a very poor family, and my dad was a alcohol abuser. We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of love. But, I believe that we are chosen people from God, that I believe a lot in this, because I know a lot of people who has a background like mine, and they became good preachers, they became good people, they became truth seekers, and that's what happened to me. So that's why I'm really happy to share my testimony. Since I was like probably a teenager, I also became a drug addict, and I became an alcohol abuser, just like my dad. So at the age of 19, I tried to kill myself. I tried to shoot myself in the head with a gun. It was a revolver caliber 38, and I survived. So that's why I believe in miracles. Because
Wow.
that's what happened to me, and I did this because I felt insignificant. I felt like I was a tiny little speck in the galaxy, just like I was shown because of the influence of music and movies and drugs and alcohol. So I didn't believe like I had a future, and
Hmm.
after 20 years after, I believe that now I have a big family. I have a wife. I've been married for 16 years almost, and I have 6 kids. So I'm truly blessed.
Hmm. Where were you living at that time when you were 19 and abusing drugs and really
Yes,
at a down point in your life?
I was in Mexico, in my central Mexico, and I that's where I spent the first 19 years of my life. And like I said, I quit school, and I didn't do much in my life, and I had a bad relationship with a woman, so that's why she was way older than me. So when she left me, I felt like I wanted to die, and I actually tried it. And when I was at the hospital, the doctor told me that I was very lucky to be alive, and I told him no, I don't think it's luck. I think it's a miracle, that God let me live.
Providence. Yeah.
Uh, and that's why I'm here now, and then I understand that I have a purpose now. After that, I came to the U.S. at the age of 21, and I've been here in this country for 20 years now, and I've been a preacher in many churches in Spanish, and I've been studying the Bible for like the last 20 years, but I'm also into what people call conspiracies.
Hmm.
From JFK to 9/11 to NASA to moon landing hoax, vaccines, chemtrails, and actually I don't believe in coincidence because uh, I wasn't even trying, to reach the flat Earth, because I thought it was I thought it was a joke, to be honest with you, at the beginning.
Right.
I thought it was a joke, but let's say that because of the YouTube autoplay, I was
Right.
listening because when I'm working, I'm just listening to these conspiracies and then one of them started playing by itself, and I was really busy working that I couldn't even stop it.
Yeah.
So what I did is I just started listening, and it was a video from, excuse me, it was a video from Robbie Davidson from Celebrate Truth.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just gonna say that right after that video, I was a flat earther.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
Do you
it was.
remember which one it was?
I guess I actually have it. I wrote it down because it was kind of hard to remember. It was the world's most shocking secret. That
Wow.
was even his. He got that from another. I think it was from the Strange Truth Project,
Uh-huh.
but he showed it at the Celebrate Truth channel, and it's a long video. It was like 2.5 hours. So I listened to the whole thing, and after that I was sure that the Earth was flat, and I keep looking for videos. I started listening to ODD, people
Hmm.
like D Marvel, people like yourself. So that's why now I know for sure that the Earth is flat, and that we've been lied to for our whole lives, and not only about this, about many things.
Right. Right. And, before we go into this aspect of the discussion, let's go back. You said you've been on a journey to awakening with regard to other conspiracies,
Hmm.
and so what was the first, and what was the first that kind of opened your eyes to there's something more going on here than what we have been, contending with or
Yes,
opening ourselves to possibility.
it was definitely 9/11.
Yeah.
After that, I started asking a lot of questions. And I was really disappointed that you couldn't find the answers right away, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we've been lied to our whole lives since the very beginning. I know about the government. I know that it's corrupt at all levels. I know that NASA is fake. And also the space and science is fake. Also the pharmacia, the vaccines are not helping people. That some of the diseases are man-made, and many other things. Like there's also weather manipulation, the alien deception. It was another one that it was really important to me. The alien
Mm-hmm.
deception, because I knew since the beginning that those are demons. Those are not even
Right.
aliens. Like they want us to understand. And I call this because I read that in a book that it was the Hegelian dialectic. The order
Yes.
out of chaos. They also create the problems. They also create the solution to those problems. But
Right.
I just figure that the biggest deception is that the people on top of us, they create a dependency or addiction to government. So that's their main focus. They want us to be always fighting over government, over the right and left paradigm. And I knew that since the very beginning. And people, when I was younger, when I was like 20, 21, people thought that I was crazy. I was a crazy person just talking about these things.
Yeah, I know. I've dealt with that too.
But actually the biggest disappointment for me also was that you couldn't even find these answers in churches. In the church. It was really, really disappointing to see that people like Billy Graham or Joel Austin, because of that, people, they've been lying to people and filling their pockets with a lot of money at the expense of other people.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, Going into 9/11, what was it that immediately, um, caught your attention? Because I too remember, and it impacted me greatly. I had never been really into conspiracy before
Uh-huh.
that time. In fact, I
Okay.
I I had lived in a van for 4 years and was completely separated from TV or radio or anything to do with society and culture. And when that occurred, I wanted to study every aspect of it. I wanted to learn as much as I could about why. I just felt that it was a significant event in our timeline as far as our world history, and that there was something more going on than what we were being told, and that there was a huge shift in the paradigm of the world. And so, kind of relate to us your study and like with flat Earth, what brought you to knowledge that we were being lied to?
Yes, I mean, I would say that after 9/11, just right after, when President Bush, he wanted to have a war with Afghanistan, and
In
he's
Iraq. Yeah.
and Iraq, yeah, especially with Iraq, because they told him that they had weapons of mass destruction and all
Right.
that. I knew they were lying because I knew that they had nothing to do with 9/11.
Right.
I started seeking about this, and I knew that it was an inside job. And I also knew that that the people that we call like the Illuminati, the Freemasons, the elite, the
Hmm.
people that control everything, they probably had something to do about this.
Right.
According to the Bible, I will say that I'm going to call them the synagogue of Satan. The
Yes.
synagogue
Right.
of Satan is the one that is controlling everything, and people will understand what I mean when I say this.
Yes. Absolutely. I agree, and I immediately was confronted with, well, like with flat Earth, you immediately realize that there's no curvature, and so we're forced to, you know, reconsider everything. And with 9/11, I was immediately confronted with the Illuminati New World Order and that government-sponsored terror, and that they created the boogeyman. Like they funded Al Qaeda, they funded the Taliban, they funded
Yes.
ISIS, ISIL, whatever you want to call it, whatever boogeyman they used to pull out of the closet to push forward their agenda, they fund and create those scenarios in order to advance the whatever it is that they're trying to get done. And
Yes.
so I learned those things. All
Yes,
right,
and
so
I also realized that they're like the CIA are in part of this, the FBI, all the government, and they also control Hollywood, the media. They control everything basically. They control the banks. So we're actually manipulated by them, by everything we watch, by the movies, by the music that we listen to. So it's kind of hard, to start from there. It's like starting again from zero.
right, right, yeah, yeah, it is. It's like being born into a whole new world. The fullness, as far as the movies, The Matrix, I
Mhm.
mean, that is basically the embodiment of what all of us are forced to go through. We have to unplug, realize that everything that we believe to be true was just merely a figment of our imagination, and that what we thought was reality has no basis in truth. And so, other things that I began to, examine and look into was not only the 9/11 being an inside job, but studying other events, like the the Oklahoma City bombing, the things
Yes.
that they did on Ruby Ridge, and the whole thing, the attacks on David Koresh, and other large wars, even World War II, how they pulled out the radar systems and allowed the Japanese to attack, and how they knew and had broken the code for what was the diplomatic, that whole language, the covert language, that they knew all of these things and they allowed them to happen. And the fact that all the people in Pearl Harbor, they clustered all of those ships together in order to allow all those soldiers and navy men and ship, the people to die and to basically be attacked in large massacre, in order to be the catalyst for uniting America's affirmation to go to war. I mean, that's how insane it is. And things like, the Vietnam War, and how that was all based on a lie, and how they could just even start a whole war based on a lie. Nobody confirming that these attacks went down, or that it played out in the way that it did. And just um, same thing with 9/11 though. But if you would comment on all that.
Yes, actually, when we're inside of the rabbit hole, there's no way to stop. We keep going and going, and we keep finding truth, and especially from the Bible, because now I found out that the Bible has a different meaning now. Not what we've been taught for many years or decades. Because I understand how it is today. That, like, because of the 501c3, preachers don't have the freedom to speak the truth, not only about God, but also about the kingdom, and the salvation.
Right.
And they don't preach about these things. That's the problem that I have with the church today. That they're not telling people the truth. They're
Right.
not even telling us about the right shape of the earth. So it's kind of disappointing. Actually, that's part of my testimony. That I've been preaching for 20 years, and I've been reading the Bible for 20 years, and I found out many, many good things inside of that book that I apply in my life all the time. But I also been by many churches. I'm not welcome anymore because of my beliefs. And also I can say, like, I was reading the other day, people like the Pope, the Pope from Rome, from the Vatican.
Hmm.
He was saying the other day that he's ready to baptize aliens from space. That's
Right.
that's very ridiculous. That we're at this point actually in religion. That They're actually trying to get an organized religion, a worldwide religion, and also a government. So I actually remember the words of Rick Hammer at the Flat Earth conference in Denver that it happened a few months ago, when he was saying that he's not ashamed, right? He was saying that
Right.
he's not ashamed. And I can say the same thing about me, that I'm not ashamed anymore. I'm not ashamed to tell the truth. And that is why it's very important that people will tell the truth, like in this radio station, like from a pulpit, especially, and even when the people's lives are in danger, because they're telling the truth. And that's
Right.
actually very important for me, that to know that a lot of people is listening to you right now. But these people, they have the open mind to listen to this. They have they're seeking for the truth. There's people that is not conformed to the false leaders that we have. People who decided to take the narrow road instead of the broad one.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And when we come back from the first break, we'll go more in depth into it and talk about the convention, because it is nice to gather together with other large communities of people that are all seeking truth and that have removed themselves from the deception and that understand the enormity of the lies and what we are dealing with regard to the New World Order, and that we really are at a war. I mean, that this is a spiritual war for the lives and eternity of humanity, each one of us individually, that the consequences of not realizing and placing priority on the kingdom are, it's everything. It's everything. And so, um, Drone says, shape of the earth is not going to save anybody. That's not
Exactly.
necessarily true, because look at how many people have been led astray and deceived by scientism and that have bought into the whole science, Darwinian, Copernican model for believing and understanding world. And because of that, they're atheists and they've been separated from God, and they believe that the Bible is meaningless and has no, holds no interest and holds no um, profundity. And so, again, that, in my opinion, that just shows the shallow nature of what most people think with regard to this particular issue. But the fact is that really millions of people's lives and eternities and salvation are dependent upon scientism and the deception that has basically led them astray their entire lives from even believing in the inspired word, and even opening themselves to the possibilities and to the study of the Bible and its prophetic nature. Carlos, did you
Exactly.
comment before we go to break here?
Yeah, so I just want to say the same thing, because that's what happened to me. When I was younger, I felt insignificant. I felt like nothing. I felt like I wasn't important. I felt like I was just a tiny little dust in this universe. Before I know that I have a purpose, that God chose me for a reason. He chose me to have the family that I have right now, to have the 6 kids, and also He opened my mind about all these things, and trying to get ready for the future, for what is coming, to teach all of this to new people, to a lot of people who is in the dark right now, who they don't know anything about this. And it's very important to tell them that God has a purpose.
Absolutely. Link says in the chat, I agree, Zen. It can save many when they wake up to the truth. And not only that, but it's going to prepare people for the coming of the Antichrist, because that is the next aspect of this deception. The whole Copernican, heliocentric, Darwinian model and scientism. As far as Robbie Davidson has made a lot of movies on scientism. It's
Yes.
basically a religion. It's a faith, and now they are pushing the whole ideology that the ancient aliens are creators, And when you understand cosmology and that there is no ever expanding universe, that all the stars in our sky are not suns and they don't have planetary systems around them, well, then there's no extraterrestrials, there's no people advanced millions of years ahead of us coming from out there. And
Yeah.
so, understanding that, you have to reconsider, well, what are these UFOs and these ancient aliens? And again, as we spoke about earlier, you know that they are the angels that were cast out of the heavens and that have become legion. They are the demonic
Yes.
forces aligned against us and that are trying to cause all of us to fall and burn with them.
Yes.
Link also says, I've heard many testimonies of non believers turning to truth after finding out about flat Earth.
Yes.
Absolutely. I have as well. All right, we'll be right back. We'll be
Okay.
right back.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for a second portion. I want to go ahead and turn it over to you, Carlos, and give you a chance to let's talk about your awakening to flat Earth and to biblical cosmology. What was it? I know that you said that you basically heard a video, but what was it within the video that convinced you? What were some of the points?
Yes, like I said, I've been into a lot of the conspiracies since like maybe 20 years ago. And I was listening to the NASA and moon landing hoax. And then after that, the video started playing by itself, and it was from Celebrate Truth, Robbie Davidson. And it started with that thing. So that's why I didn't care to listen for that for like the first 40 minutes because they were talking about the moon landing hoax. But right after that, he started talking about the flat Earth, and then I was like kind of like I didn't like it at the beginning, to be honest with you. But I kept listening because it was really interesting, and I just wanted to see the point because I know for sure that I'm an open-minded, I'm an open-minded person. So I just wanted to know what they believed, and I finished the whole thing, and the proof that got me right away is because of the water. The water is always
Right,
find its level, and it's
right,
always flat. So that's why I just realized that it was really easy to understand that, and that we can say that we know, like we know for sure because our senses our God-given senses are telling us the truth. They're telling us what it is.
right.
That we don't live in a we don't live in a universe full of planets and aliens and everything like that. So when I finished that video, that's why I started looking for more of those videos, like ODD, like I said,
Yes.
the Marvel, like yourself, many others. But I also I went to the Bible right away. I was working there, I couldn't do it, but when I was at home, I went to the Bible and started from Genesis 1, and the whole chapter had a different meaning. The firmament, the sun and the moon. So everything was very clear to me. That
Right,
was
right.
that was basically my opening. Because I knew for sure that the Earth was flat and the Bible is truth.
Yes, and that was also my my journey because I study the ancient biblical manuscripts, and not just the biblical, but a lot of the just the ancient sources themselves, and like the Book of Enoch. And so
Mhm.
when I came to terms with this as truth, I immediately revisited that portion of the Book of Enoch, the book on the courses of the heavenly luminaries, which I was never able to understand correctly. And I realized after re-examining it that the reason was because that I was trying to filter all of that information through the heliocentric worldview and understanding cosmology in that manner, which is incorrect. And so when all of that fell into place and I was able to understand the motions that Enoch was attributing to the different luminaries from east to west and then north to east, and basically describing their motions as a circle, I was so blown away. And at that time, I was already writing two other books and was almost completely done with them. And I immediately abandoned those projects and began to write on flat Earth and how it was the key to decrypt the Book of Enoch. Because, a lot of times when God brings forth revelation to somebody, he does it to multiple people, that all of a sudden somebody will get a revelation or gain insight into something, and a lot of people almost like that 100 monkey syndrome. And so I was like, man, I need to write about this now just in case somebody else also, especially since flat earth was becoming such a huge area of interest and huge topic of research for so many people, that I started writing. And then with my next book on the firmament, the vaulted dome of the earth, in that particular book, I revisited all of the creation accounts, found in the different parallel accounts like the Targum, Jasher, Jubilees, the Book of the Secrets of Enoch, the Chronicles of Jeremiel, Flavius Josephus, all these different accounts which have included in their manuscripts the what happened during the initial creation week, these 7 days of the establishment of creation. And so putting all those stories together, well, just for myself initially, but I knew that since there was so much material that I was going to compile it and make it available to everybody else, and that it would be my second book. But um, doing that research, it became absolutely undeniable. I knew without a doubt that the the biblical cosmology, flat Earth creation, is the Word of God, and it is the way that the Creator reveals the structure of creation and brings forth that the Earth was established as the foundation for the heavens which were spread above it, and that the firmament encapsulating the circle of the Earth, that it was uh, the it was spread as the tabernacle for which then the luminaries were placed into, and that whole circuit within it. And
Yeah.
so, I knew immediately that the sun and the moon and the other luminaries, there's no way they could be larger than the earth
Yes.
being put into the tabernacle of its firmament. And also with the creation week, the earth being older than the luminaries, the sun didn't come into being first, and then somehow the earth spinning took orbit around it. All of that was completely nullified, but just the study of Genesis. And so,
Yes.
yeah, so what were some of the other things for you?
Yes, I actually started looking at more of these things like the Nephilim and all those things. And
Yes.
even though I'm gonna have to say it, when you're part of a religion, those books are kind of forbidden for you. They don't want you to see those. They don't want you to take a look at those things. But I just realized that it was really important for me to know more and more, and that's why I've been listening to more YouTube videos, reading more, listening to people like you and other people that I know that I respect a lot. So that's where I came to the conclusion that there's more to learn. That there's a lot of things that we don't know yet, but we are in the right way. We are going in the right direction. And after that, actually, I'm just gonna share that after I found out about the flat Earth, it was kind of difficult for me because I was a preacher, and for many years I've been a preacher. So I didn't know what to make out of it. I didn't know if I should keep it to myself, maybe until I die. I just thought about it because I got scared actually about this because I knew it was really important and it was huge. So I didn't know what to make out of this, but I kept reading and I kept studying, and but one time I just couldn't hold it, and I came home and I told my wife what I believed, and I thought she was joking at the beginning, but I told her, I believe that the Earth is flat, and I have proof from the Bible that the Earth is flat, and I didn't know what she was gonna answer me, but she was looking at me like, "Are you serious?" And then, but she looked for me for a minute, and she knew that I wasn't joking. So she told me right away, if it's in the Bible, I believe it too. So she accepted right away, actually, right away. So it was actually I found the support in my wife too, and now in the rest of my family. If you
That's
remember,
awesome.
I went to the conference. I took my
Yes.
11-year-old son.
Yes.
He's right here behind me, listening to everything, and
Right on.
and
Tell him
he
I
was
said hello.
yes, and he was really happy to meet our his heroes from YouTube. Let's say like that. Because he met you, he got a picture with everyone because he had a blast actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
I also did, I was really happy to
Right.
be. I was because he was here in Colorado. I live in Colorado in Grand
Mm.
Junction. It was like it's kind of far. It was like 4 hour drive, but I thought I need to go. I need to make some uh, money to go to the conference because it was going to be here in Colorado. Even though, well, I have 6 kids, I don't have a lot of money, but
Mm.
I'm also a pastry chef, and I'm making decent money, so I can't complain. So that's why I just took the money like the week before, and I bought the tickets, and I just had a great time, at the
Yes.
conference, and I learned a lot. But also, part of this is that at the same time, I was attending a church here in Grand Junction, which is one of the biggest churches here in the city. And we were there, and they actually offered me the opportunity to become a pastor, to become a preacher for a Spanish-speaking a ministry. And they offered me that, and they actually said, we want you to be the pastor, and then there's a lot of Hispanics here in Colorado. I want you to be in charge of that church, and they offered me that opportunity, But at the same time, I already knew about flat Earth, so I was thinking, I'm praying for a long time, and I didn't know what to do. But actually, the same week that I attended the flat Earth conference is the same week where I just a few days before I rejected the offer to become a pastor. And I told them that I didn't want to do it. They actually insisted on me for doing that, but I just had to say no because it was many things. I know brother Nate Wolf. He's a good friend of mine. We are in in contact like once a week. Happy what's going on with his life now,
Yes.
and. And I told him that I shared my testimony with him, and I told him that I rejected the offer. He got fired, but I quit. I quit the church because I couldn't go to that church anymore. We had a lot of problems in the last weeks because we couldn't agree on everything. They believe in one saved, always saved doctrine. I don't
Yes.
believe in that. They believe in pre-tribulation rapture. I don't believe in that. They also don't believe in flat Earth, of course. But they're also very strong Trump supporters, and I've been talking to them to let them know, even Hillary or Trump or whatever,
Doesn't matter.
that's not the answer, and
Right.
it's kind
Yes.
of hard for me to see that people who are actually in the truth movement that they still believe in that, that
Right.
I don't believe that like since 20 years ago. I know because I also come from a country like that, who has a
Yes.
corrupted. Mexico is being corrupted for like over a century,
Hmm.
So I know how it is.
Yeah. When
So
you have people from the same family bloodline, that
yes,
should tell you something. I mean, come on.
yes. So we basically only agreed at salvation, so that's why I said, they're gonna force me to say things that I don't want to say. They're gonna force me to
Mhm.
do what I don't want to do. So maybe it wasn't the right time, even though in my heart
Right.
I really want to serve the Lord. I really want to work
Yes.
for Him. but I think he's gonna open another venues.
Right.
I think
Absolutely.
he's gonna open. At the beginning, I was disappointed, of course. We quit church. Now we don't go to the church. Sometimes I miss it because we've been there. We've been in church for 20 years with my family, with my kids. And at the beginning, it kind of hit me. It hit me really hard. And I was questioning and I was praying to God, like, well, what do you want me to do? What can I do from now? Or should I just stop doing something, or should I just not do anything, or just keep everything, all this information for myself? And then I think that he gave me an answer. I believe that when I was in a prayer, he gave me an answer, and that answer is that he just made me realize, that because I'm blessed to speak Spanish and English. Well, my Spanish is actually better than my English, and so there's a lot of people who doesn't know anything, like even my family in Mexico, my relatives, my friends in Mexico. I just realized there's like 150 million people just in North America. That's including Mexico, Canada, and the U.S. 150 million Hispanics,
Right.
So I just got to like open my mind to say, well, there's a lot of work for you. You just
Yeah.
have to wait for the right time and the
Right.
right opportunity.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more, brother. And just like for Pastor Nate, now he's co-hosting the show with Robbie Davidson, Celebrate Truth, every Saturday at 10
Huh?
p.m. to midnight on Revolution Radio. And this is a shout out for them. And I'm asking the listeners here to please go and support their effort, and especially with them being a new show, that it's important that you show the network that there is interest in what they are doing and the work that they are bringing forth, the truth that they're speaking about. And so Revolution Radio, which is at www.freedomslips.com, Studio A, every Saturday evening, 10 p.m. to midnight. And that I think it's an exciting thing for them to come together and to do this show, and that this is the first flat Earth show on that network. And
Yes.
also biblically oriented. There's only a few of us, like I think maybe 4 or 5 shows on the entire network, which are biblically oriented, and that the hosts are Christians themselves.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's an important thing. And it's predominantly New Age, and so those are the people that need to hear the message more so than anybody, because they're fully believing the whole concept that the ancient aliens are creators, and that they can be Christ themselves, that he was an ascended master, or that he was um, one of these Anunnaki alien gods. I mean,
Yes.
the deception is so broad, and so many are just ready to bend the knee before the Antichrist and to buy into it, accept it completely. I mean, the ancient alien channel. I did a show about how they are affirming that Satan was a good guy. That he basically sacrificed himself in order to give us free will and
Mhm.
opportunity, and that the Most High God, Yahweh, is some kind of a homicidal maniac and bad guy that wants to keep knowledge and the knowledge of good and evil from us. I mean, they have it so twisted and turned upside down. And really, we are living in those days where good is evil and evil is good, and everything's being turned upside down.
Yes. Yes. That's actually part of the deception. That we're supposedly in a Christian country. This country is supposedly Christian, but there's only very few people who are actually telling the truth. From like yourself, from like I know basically all of them. I know the Christians, who are actually flat earthers, and there's only a few. There's only like you said, only like 5 maybe in the whole country. Imagine this. That's why we have a lot of work to do ahead of us.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And so I applaud you for waiting, for the right moment and the right scenario to open itself up, because I think that the Most High God will provide, and he's going to do this for all of us. He stands those that accept his truth and that are willing to preach it in the manner that he's led us to discernment on it. He's going to make you the watchman. He's going to have you be the guide and to direct others to truth and knowledge, in the manner that so many are really seeking. A lot of people are being called out of the churches. I
Yeah.
was telling you earlier,
Mhm.
before the show, that so many of my listeners and my friends from all over the world, they have nobody to fellowship with just because everything that they believe is opposed by majority opinion, and they're so controversial and so highly contested. It's not worth it. It's not worth their time and the argument to try to go to a church which only opposes them and basically treats them as black sheep.
Yes, that's how it is, and there's nothing we can do about it from those churches, but we can do a lot from outside. Now, like I said, I'm gonna have to be very specific about this, but it hasn't been easy. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's easy. This life isn't easy, but I also felt down. I also been sometimes discouraged about what's going on. I'm gonna have to say that because that's how it is, and I know that that's how a lot of people feel at this moment. They feel discouraged, disappointed because they can't even go to a church. When they can preach the truth. It feels bad sometimes. You feel disappointed, but you keep praying to God, and He gives you comfort. And sometimes He gives you comfort in other people. Like I said, I'm gonna mention that again. For me, Brother Nate Wolf, he's been a pillar for me for my faith because he's been through a lot, and I know that he's not gonna say that because he's very humble,
Mhm.
but I know about what he is and what he's doing, and he's doing a great job. And sometimes when I feel down, I talk to him, and then right after I feel good because he gives me what I need. He gives me the
Right.
word from the Bible that I need at the moment, and I know it's God. God is working with us, and like I said, I mean, we need to get ready for what's coming.
Right.
It's not easy, but I'm still waiting, and I'm still waiting for an opportunity, and I know that opportunity will come. I'm actually free. I
Right.
wasn't free, and now I'm free. I actually move to any part of the world that God wants to send me. I
Mhm.
can go whenever He wants, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy if I can be of service.
Yeah, what a beautiful blessing it is to have such freedom and to not be tied into something that you would really hate to be committed to anyways, and so I've got great respect for Pastor Nate, simply because he's one of the few in the Christian community. I'm not sure if you're familiar with my work, Carlos, but
Yes.
if you are, you know that I'm greatly attacked and vehemently opposed, and a lot of people condemn the work that I do. But I have great respect for Nate because he actually came to me and talked to me and asked me about what I believe and allowed me to go through the scriptures with him, chapter by chapter, verse by verse, and committed, several hours of his time to actually listening to my perspective and why it is that I believe what I believe. Because even though what I teach is contrary to what is taught in the mainstream or
Mhm.
that is majority opinion, everything that I cite is backed by multiple dozens of witnesses from the ancient sources. And just like with my study of the biblical cosmology and the firmament and bringing together all these parallel accounts, I approach study of any topic and any issue in similar manner, and I bring all of the information together for people to study it for themselves. And so And I don't receive that kind of um, that kind of relation or relating with others. Mostly, people just condemn and criticize, and then call me a Gnostic or heretic or whatever, make videos about me, and never even talk to me or debate me about anything.
Yes, I when we are in the community, we understand what's going on, and I've seen what's happening. I've seen it on Facebook and all that. I know what's going on there. And all I can say is that I have respect for you too, and I have respect for the other ones too. I respect everyone, and I really like the approach of Nate Wolf because he's doing it the right way, to be honest.
Right, I agree.
That's what I can say, about that because even if we are in the truth community, there's a way how to say things, and how to
Yeah,
approach to people. And
absolutely.
I know there's moments when we need to get a rage, against things that are happening, but not towards other people, because our fight is not a physical fight; it's a spiritual
Right.
one.
Spiritual, yes.
Yes.
I agree, brother. And the only other person that kind of approached me in similarity, as with Nate Wolf, has been both Rob Skiba and Robbie Davidson.
Uh-huh.
And I really appreciate those brothers as well because, and even though, you know, um, we have differing opinions, I mean, who doesn't? But at least we can come together and talk about them and discuss them with open minds. And that's a beautiful thing. All right, we'll be right back, everyone, for a second. All right, welcome back, everybody, for a second hour. I'm your host, Zen Garcia. This is Secrets Revealed here on Truth Frequency Radio. And I am spending this evening in discourse with Pastor Carlos Razo. Carlos, you there again, brother?
Yes, I am here, brother.
All right. And so we want to pick up and go into just let's talk a little bit about the convention because I think it's a beautiful thing to come together with so many of like mind. We're so lonely in our walks. So many people, especially those that um, study my work and that are seeking in the manner that I am, that prioritize kingdom in the manner that I do, you find yourself ostracized by family, friends, neighbors, and criticized for what you believe, even though, again, it's so very easy to determine, especially with regard to biblical cosmology, that the earth is not a ball. I mean, there is no curvature. And even the natural physics, the properties of water, confirm that it will always seek out and find its level. That water must be contained in a basin. It can never adhere to a ball. I don't care what kind of magic gravity potion or magic gravity theory somebody tries to apply to it. You can never get water to adhere to a ball. It simply does not work, will not happen. And so that whole thing of the Copernican model is one that has to be thrown out the window and then reconsidered. And that's when the paradigm shift happens, and for a lot of people, it's difficult for them to overcome what they think is madness, what they believe to be the lunacy, the complete insanity of flat Earth as a possibility. That it just seems completely um, like the stupidest thing one could ever even bring up and comment, and that even uh, the whole thing with flat Earth and people that believe in it is that people believe flat earthers to be morons, and yet actually the opposite is true. But again, it's so difficult for people to overcome their brainwashing, their indoctrination, and the whole thing of their educational going up through the schools and everything that is affirmed by TV and NASA and television, that the conspiracy seems so large and so vast there's no way everybody could be lying to us, and yet that is the truth of what we are all forced to uh, accept and move forward with. Carlos?
Yes. Well, I'm gonna say that I just remember that since I'm a little kid, the two pictures that I have in my head is one globe Earth, and the other one is a long-haired Jesus. That means that we've been brainwashed since day one, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been growing up with those images in our heads, and it's kind of hard to leave those aside, you know, because now we understand what really is, what we really have, and like you were saying, you know, it's very lonely sometimes for us, you know, because we can share all this with the rest of our families because I mean some of them they already thought I was crazy because I'm a Christian.
Right.
So if now I'm telling them that the Earth is flat, they're gonna say, okay, now he lost it.
Yeah.
But we need to find ways, you know, to be patient with them, to be patient with people. Now I had the chance to speak with a lot of people now, you know, with my sister, with my cousins, and some of them they accept, and some of they just have their reserves. But I am doing what I have to do, you know, and I just trying to indoctrinate people, you know, from what they believe since they were kids. So that's why for me it was very important to go to the conference. You know, I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you, because I've been a flat earther since like over a year now, maybe since the last conference that happened in North Carolina, if I recall, and that's when I started just digging more about the flat Earth. So that's why I wanted to go to this conference, and it was very important to me to go. Like I said, to save a little extra money to go because it's not cheap. It's kind of expensive, you know, to pay for a hotel, the tickets, and the
Right.
transportation and everything. But you know, I had to make this sacrifice because I really wanted to be there, and I don't regret it at all because I was really, really happy to be there. You know, to listen to all the speakers and to meet them, to have pictures with them. I had the chance to speak with basically everyone, you know, including you. I spoke with Nate Wolf, with all the Nathans, because there, you know, there's a lot of
Right.
Nathans.
So many.
Yes,
It's so funny.
yes, I had the chance to speak with everyone, even Robbie Davidson, which he was really busy, but
So
he's
busy. Yeah.
minutes, yeah. And I was really happy, like I said, and I that actually enforced my faith, you know, of what I believe, and I actually helped me to basically get out of the closet, you know, the flat Earth, because I was just I didn't want to say it. I knew it from a few months now, but I didn't want to openly say that I'm a flat earther because like I said, I was a Christian. I was a preacher for many years, and I thought like I had a lot of things to lose if I just opened to this, you know. But now I
Right.
don't. That's probably one of the things that I got from the conference, that I don't care, that I, like I said, that I'm not ashamed anymore.
Yes.
The same week I had to quit the church, and now I'm waiting for another opportunity, and I know it's going to happen. So
Right.
there's also I can listen to the other testimonies of other people. They make you feel better. They make you feel like you're not alone anymore. That there's a lot of people like you, and they're not crazy. They're just regular people, you know, who are open. They have the open mind to know the truth.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. That's the beautiful thing is again, sharing the fellowship. We are encouraging and empowering each other in our individual walks, no matter where we may be, to be bold in our presentation and to stand up for truth. And I was able to meet Nathan Thompson there, which I love Nathan. He's such a good brother, and the fact
Yes.
that he's able to and will go anywhere, no matter where he is in the world, and just go to a corner and start talking about flat Earth, and live stream all of this to his community, and that he's encouraging others in similar manner to share the truth of this revelation, and it's just so funny
Hmm.
to see the repercussions and the fruits of his labor in that manner. And so, each one of us doing it in different way. I don't know if you heard of what David Wise was talking about with the ghosting, the flat Earth ghosting.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, where individuals are now putting on in elevators and hiding these speakers where they're uh, playing flat Earth podcasts and stuff like that, just having people
Yes.
listen to, they're getting on and they're not realizing that that's not supposed to be part of the whole scene, and then they're just listening to this flat Earth information and they're like, "What is this? Oh my gosh, it is so funny." But things like that are, just so ingenious as far as getting the message out. And Nathan's also dropping all these flat Earth flyers everywhere, and David does the same with his cards. And it's a beautiful thing to see him teaming up with Matt and also with Jaron and Bob Nodell over there at Glowbusters, and how those
Yeah.
guys can just come together and just joking around with each other at the lunacy, because you have to be able to laugh about it, because it's so serious and the enormity of this deception is so large. If you can't laugh about it, you really you're too serious, and that's something that is difficult for people to overcome as well, is because we want our loved ones to know more than anything. We want them to come to truth on so many things, even especially 9/11. I mean,
Yeah.
because that's the gateway to everything else,
Hmm.
and how so many people are locked away and inaccessible even to this truth, and how there's so much that we can't talk to them about, and you have to speak about the weather or the football games or the latest soap or whatever, the latest movie or fashion or whatever, things that are superficial when you could be speaking about the deeper aspects of what's really going on in the world. And there's few people that you can share those kind of conversations with, but it is nice as far as the convention coming together with others that you can do that with, and family, even your children. Tell us about your children's experience and
Well, it's actually very impressive because like I said, even my 5-year-old kid, he's always talking about flat Earth
right on.
to everyone. And he can barely speak, and he's saying to everyone, "The Earth is not a globe. The Earth is flat." So he's
Right on.
saying that he's only 5 years old, and
Yeah, good for him.
I'm actually happy, that even though, like I said, it was hard since the beginning, but now I see the fruits, and I see also my oldest kids in school, they teaching the other kids, and they even have conversation with teachers, about it. And
Nice, that's
uh,
awesome.
the teachers actually respect their opinion.
That's great.
But I'm glad that they are doing that. But I always try to tell them that they had to also be careful, because
Yes.
there's a lot of people who is actually trying to harm if they don't if they know that we don't believe the same thing that they do. So
Yes.
there's things like that happening. But I'm really happy that all my kids, all my family, we are a big family. We're a family of 8, me and my wife and 6 kids, and we all flat earthers, and we're all Christians. So that's why I think it's very important for me to stay focused and to keep doing what I'm doing, and I know I have the blessing from God, and uh, gonna keep saying that it was a really good experience for me to go to the conference. I also got the chance. I had the chance to meet people from South America, people who speak my language in Spanish, like
Right.
Iru. I spoke with
Yeah. What
Iru
a
like,
good brother.
and some and others people from Chile, I guess, and from South America, and I was so happy to see that, because even though there was only a few, it was like maybe 10 people from South America.
Uh-huh.
I know that how important it is, for them to be here, because I live here in Colorado and I had to make the sacrifice to be there. And people coming from South America is even more expensive. And
Right.
they did it anyway because they know the truth and because they are actually working really hard to teach people in their countries, about the flat Earth.
Right.
Not all of them are Christians, but I know they'll get there, because if they keep digging and digging, they're going to find the truth also about the salvation from God and about
Right.
everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, the family oriented feeling and the the empowerment, everybody, just like with what you were saying with Rick, talking about and standing up for truth and not being ashamed of it.
Yes.
What is also funny, and I hope that he comes up with some video or documentary that talks about, the character that he plays.
Yes.
Um, oh my gosh, that is so funny. But his testimony about the lightning, that is such a deeply profound uh, testimony. And I have also, in similarity, had God share with me um, confirmation in that manner. And so I know the powerful nature of the sign that he was given and the fact that he was able to, you know, to um, to share that with Rob and to encourage him and to get him back on track with the work that he's doing. Because again, coming and standing for this truth and being a public figure as far as talking about alternative truth, that those of us that have made the choice to stand on this revelation and to share it with the world, oh my gosh, the kind of uh, just attacks
Mhm.
and the kind of vitriol that people target us with. And it's sad to see others, you know, um, basically treating other people in such manner, and why it is that this issue is so largely opposed like that. I mean, yeah, I understand it seems totally lunatic. But again, when you open yourself to the possibilities of it and examine it with open mind, it's immediately confirmable. I mean, there's not even any doubt. Those of us that study it, even couple day commitment, you learn without a doubt that there is no curvature. And now, there's all and I'll get you to comment on this, Carlos.
Mhm.
All the studies that are now being done with the infrared photography. We're seeing cityscapes, landscapes, um, lighthouses, towers, monuments at in extent of 100 miles, and those kind of things should be 1 mile below the curvature of the Earth and completely blocked from view, unattainable as far as being able to be seen or witnessed in the manner that people are, sharing in confirmation and creating videos. I forget the individual's name. Jaron was just talking about this guy, but all the incredible work that he's been doing with this infrared photography. But that's just another thing, and anybody can go anywhere in the world and even over 2 miles of curvature. You can use a laser pointer to confirm that there is no curvature to the Earth and do it yourself. There should be 32 inches of curvature after the second mile, which, if that were the truth of the way that the Earth is shaped and that the Earth is a ball, you should not be able to point a laser pointer right above the water level and then over 2 miles distance be able to see it on the other side of the shoreline and have it reflected in a mirror or off of a white backdrop or whatever. And yet anybody can do this. And again, people should do this, and it will confirm the things that we're talking about. But back to you, brother.
Yes, that same thing happened to me. I know that we can do those experiments ourselves, and I was very impressed about that. Because the water, the lasers, and everything. I mean, it's actually very simple experiments, and we can do it ourselves. You know, we can. That's why when I was telling my family this, when I became a flat earther, it's like, I mean, there's nothing in the world that I can make me change my mind, because I'm 100% sure that. And now we have more proof. You know, maybe we don't have the proof that we wanted to have right now. We don't have a picture of the Earth. All we have is the pictures from NASA. You know, that are CGI and manufactured. But we have many proofs actually that we can do ourselves. And now, for us, for Christians, we have the Bibles, you know, also to confirm, you know, many of those things from the Bible, you know, that about the firmament, about the moon and the sun, that we live in an enclosed system, that the water is always flat, and all those things, you know, and those are really easy experiments that we can do by ourselves. And also, just to finish about the thing about the conference, I just wanted to say that I really have a lot of admiration for the people that speak at that they spoke at the conference, and from a lot of people that I met there, because I know that these people are actually risking their lives, you know, telling us the truth. They're, I mean, what can we say? What can we say about that? You know, that they're really doing a good job. That I really have admiration for them. That I respect them. I respect you and your work. And I'm just gonna say that they're the true patriots of this country. You know, because we are actually brainwashed to believe in some fake patriotism, some fake patriots, just like Alex Jones and people like Rush Limbaugh, people like Sean Hannity, all the people from Fox News, and they're not real patriots. You know, they're people that are actually making millions of dollars. They're making a lot of money, you know, at the expense of the ignorance of people. They love money. They that's what they do. But they hate America. They hate Christians. They hate us. You know, that's all I can say. You know, that the fake patriots and the true patriots are inside of the movement.
I agree with you, brother. And again, you know, a lot of people attack us, say that we're doing this for the money, as if there's, you know, great interest in this particular topic. And actually, it for those that had any credibility, which did not include me, because I've always been blacklisted um, since the publication of my fourth book, Lucifer, Father of Cain. I had no idea that, you know, the knowledge would be so greatly opposed, and that I would find myself blacklisted by all of these alternative um, truth platforms. But for individuals like Rob and Robbie and others that do such incredible work and that have such large ministries of people that support them in their work, and that, you know, it's been a very difficult transition in bringing forth this information and standing upon it, and then deciding to commit. And I understand, you know, Rob's hesitation as far as, did he really want to go there?
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, that is the way that it is. You know, am I really going to put my name out there and stand with this, now that I understand without a doubt it's absolutely true?
Yes.
And look at how many people that have suffered, you know, especially people like the individual that made balls out physics, you know, I can't remember
Yes.
his name right now. Brian Mullins, you know, individuals that have scientific or academic degrees, or that are majors, engineers, physics, architects. You know, same thing for 9/11, when the architects and the engineers came out and spoke about the lunacy of a building or even 3 buildings, one not even, or 4 buildings, two of them not even hit by an airplane, but dropping in 10 seconds flat at free fall speed. How the possibilities of that are, there's never been a building that has collapsed due to fire, and especially not in 11 seconds. And then you have, the tower one, the North Tower, the second building to be hit being the first to go down, and only 52 minutes after it was struck. And so, the insanity of people buying into and believing that, Osama bin Laden or these Muslim terrorists from somewhere in Afghanistan did this, and that they were able to deceive the terrorist opposition of the United States. I mean, that's complete lunacy as well. I mean, that's even greater lunacy than believing the Earth is a ball. But who knows? I mean, most people don't realize what they've been indoctrinated into. They have no idea what is truth. And so, well, where do you think, as far as the movement and gaining momentum, where do you see, things unfolding as far as your family and where you're at and what you're seeing? Any ideas for this year, or being in a new year and all?
Yes, like I said, I mean, right now I have the freedom because I didn't want to commit to be a preacher, because I know how it is. Is become a preacher is like, it's like getting married. It's like a big commitment.
Right.
You gotta think about it, and you gotta be sure what you're doing. So that's why I didn't want to do it this time. But I know that another opportunities will come, and maybe if it's the right opportunity, I will take it. Like I said, I have the freedom right now to go anywhere. Right now I'm here in Colorado, but I've been talking to my wife, and we've been thinking about even going back to Mexico or go to Canada or somewhere else, where we can work and we can keep doing this. And we know how it is. We know that we're going to be persecuted. If we understand the Bible, or if we read the Bible, we know what's going to happen, and it's definitely not going to be easy in the future if we
hold on, brother.
Revelation. Yes.
Yeah, hold on, we're at break. We'll be right back for final. All right, welcome back, everybody, for a final segment. I wanted to answer a question from the chat room posed by Bill. He asks, let me find the question first. He asks, when Christ ascended to the Father, where did he ascend to? Any coordinates, or just back to eternity outside space-time? That's a really good question. And the answer I'm going to provide for you is from my latest book. Well, actually, not my latest now. I wrote the Flat Earth Convention book, but Paradise Sides in the North and the Mount of the Congregation, my 19th book. And I talk about, and I reveal in that particular book, how at the center of the Earth plane, at the North Pole, there is what is called the Mount of the Congregation. It's also referenced as Rupes Negra, which means the Black Rock. There's this huge magnetic mountain there, completely devoid of vegetation, and being magnetite, it attracts all the compasses of the world. And it stands there at the very center of the Earth plane, and that this is also the location for Jacob's ladder in the vision that he saw, the angels ascending and descending, that there's a hollow Earth entrance, a hole at the North Pole as well, that encompasses this Rupes Negra, this magnetic mountain, and descends down into the depths of Sheol. And that you see in Isaiah 14, where Lucifer says that he will exalt himself above the stars and the clouds of God, that he will establish his throne in the sides of the north above the mount of the congregation, that this is what he's talking about. The sides of the north are the fact that all of the points of the firmament, no matter east, south, west, they all join in union at the North Pole. And the very apex, the pinnacle of the firmament, is directly above where the mount of the congregation is located. And this is where the throne room of the Most High God has been established, as well as the very depths of what is called the abysmal chasm, or the bottomless pit, the bottomless deep. And John the Revelator, when he spoke about the descent of New Jerusalem and the keys being given to the to the Antichrist at the end of days to free the locust army, that it was there in the north, because New Jerusalem is directly above the firmament at the near the heavenly temple, the throne room of the Most High God, which again is at the North Pole, in the sides of the north, above the mount of the congregation. You also see that when Lucifer was cast down, it says that, but rather than you ascending, I shall cast you down to the sides of the pit. That it was at the North Pole that he was banished, cast down, and he was exiled here to the earth over what is referenced in 2nd Enoch chapter 29 as the bottomless. And the bottomless is this polar cavity, this wide gaping maw that is available or located at the North Pole. And so this is also the place that when Satan deceived and tried to tempt Christ and said that I will offer you all the kingdoms of the world if you would just simply bow down and give me a little worship, that this was the place. He took him to an exceedingly high place. This is the mount of the congregation. And so at the end of days, when Christ comes again, just like when he ascended to the Father, he ascended to the Father at the very heights of what are the North Pole, the center of the vaulted dome, because that's where the throne room of the Most High God has been established. And that's where the heavenly temple is, and that's also where New Jerusalem is. This will also be the place that he returns from. That in Isaiah says that when the firmament is open as a scroll, and New Jerusalem descends out of the heavens and is brought down here to the earth, that it is from the north that this will occur. And so you ask for coordinates, whatever the North Pole is, 90 degrees or whatever, that the center of the vaulted dome, that is where the throne room of the Most High God is located. And that is where he ascended to, and that's also from where he will come back and descend down to the earth from. And so, anyways, let me turn this back over to you, Carlos. Would you care to comment on that? And have you done any research on the North Pole and the abysmal chasm and all of those things? Because even the giants are said in Isaiah chapter 13 of the Brenton Septuagint version, that the giants will be released out of the north and that they are imprisoned within the hollow earth entrance currently, but that at the end of days the Most High will release them as well in order to bring his wrath out on those not written into the books of life.
Yes, I just read. I've been reading that, but not a lot because I'm barely new at this. But I understand about the Polaris and all those things, and I basically all the new information I'm getting is from you. So it's I know it's kind of new to me. I'm also learning. So
Yeah, we all are.
Yes, I'm still I still have an open mind about this, and I'm listening to you, and I'm actually learning something new right now.
Hmm. Well, the thing about the cosmology is that all of us are learning stuff new and having to come to terms with what is taught within the scripture. For instance, The Bible also teaches, and the cosmology, as far as Enoch and other books like the Chronicles of Jeremiah, they talk about how there are seven heavens divided between what is the North Pole and here at the foundation of the earth, and that the sun, the moon, and the stars, the wandering stars, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter, that all of these wandering stars, they move in circle around the North Pole and not around the sun. And so this is something that is also new, in that those that, we've been taught that everything moves around the sun. Well, that's a complete lie as well. And we can get confirmation of this just by looking at the star trails, the movement of star trails over the course of an evening. Everything moves in circle around the North Star. It is the one fixed star which never moves, and shows us and gives us orientation as to where north is. No matter where, at night you're able to see it, that is true north.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're all being forced to relearn a lot with regard to this, these particular teachings. And myself, I'm one that always studies the ancient manuscripts for knowledge of truth. I'm not just, I'm like for a lot of people that don't base their knowledge on the Bible or ancient manuscripts. For instance, like Jaron, he does a lot of work where he's using basically science and visual affirmation, and he did the laser test, to confirm the structure of reality and what we're dealing with. And so we need people on both sides, and because one is confirming the other. And so it's a beautiful thing for all of our works and the different manners that we're doing it, to bring knowledge and truth to this particular movement. And because again, it's been 3 years. I've known about this information since 2015. I began writing the Flat Earth as Key to Decrypt the Book of Enoch early that year. And so, we're not very far into this at all. 4 years now, 2019, But have you thought about writing a book or putting together your knowledge or your thought for, the Spanish speaking community? Because so many, there's a lack of literature and the availability. I have this one lady that translates my books into Spanish, and she's done 4 of them. But yeah, there's a lot, nobody, when they read my books, they're all these ancient quotes from all these ancient sources. They'd never even heard of them before. And they want to read, the whole book, and it's not available.
Yes, definitely. I've been thinking about it. I have a lot of testimonies to share, and also I understand that for a country like Mexico, where I'm from, people's being indoctrinated into Catholic Church, and which is really bad. It's people is been doing that for generations, and it's kind of hard to indoctrinate them. But they also need the information. They somehow we need to reach out to all those peoples, and I know that God will give us the opportunity to do that. Maybe in a book, maybe from a pulpit, I don't know, but I know that something will happen, and not only with me. Maybe there's going to be more and more people who will be open to work with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the Spanish-speaking community is largely Catholic, and predominantly Catholic, especially with all of the pedophilia and all of the, people moving away from the Catholic faith and religion. They really don't have a lot of alternatives, and only things like Santorini or voodoo or things of that nature. There's not a lot of alternatives, and for people that are wanting to break away from the Catholic faith, they're, like going completely the opposite direction and embracing some of these earth religions and stuff, which can be, dangerous as well. But can you speak on that?
Yes, I've seen that. I've seen that in many people. I've seen that in even within my family, with all the people that has been Catholics, and most of them are basically running away from that church because now they understand. But they, like you said, there's also not too many other choices. And
Right.
maybe Christianity is growing in Mexico, but also Christianity has been affected also, by, like I said before, by the synagogue of Satan. So it's kind of hard, now churches in Mexico are also supporting Donald Trump, even though they're in Mexico, and there's also
Uh-huh.
churches in Mexico that are waving the flag of Israel. They're into the Zionist movement. So there's not a lot of choices. So for me, I see that, and I feel I feel bad for that people. But I also believe that more people like me will come, and I'm not saying that I'm important, and I'm not saying uh, that I have the truth or that I own the truth. I'm not saying that. I actually tell this to a lot of people that I believe that, like John chapter 14 verse 6 that Jesus is the truth. That He's the truth.
Mhm.
He's the way, the truth, and the life. So I'm actually praying to God that I can be humble enough to show people the way, to show them Jesus. That's my main goal. And like I said, I know there's a lot of people. There's millions and millions of people who are indoctrinated into this faith. They also are indoctrinated into NASA, into aliens. So there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do for people like me, to keep talking and expressing myself. Uh, that I can tell them what's going on, what is really going on, or show them the way, show them the way to God. And if you let me, I would like to share two Bible verses because I think
Yeah,
they're
please.
this is actually very important. There's only two Bible verses that I chose, and one of them is actually in Matthew chapter 24. A lot of people know this. Chapter 24, verse 4 and 5. Uh, Even 6. So I'm going to read. And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you not be troubled. So I think this is very important, especially for people like us, because of what is going on right now. That we know that we are already in those times. That we know that we are in the beginning of sorrows. We are in those times already because we know about wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, and all those things. So we understand what is going on right now. But I really like what it says at the end. That we shouldn't get troubled. That we should have peace, and
Right.
that come from God. We were talking about this just a few minutes before. Like, uh, he's a provider. He will provide for us. He will provide the faith. He will provide everything that we need. So especially the faith and the peace that we need, because I know that we understand that the Revelation, according to Revelation, that more bad things are coming to us. So we need to remain in God. We need to remain in faith. We need to remain in our purpose. That's why it's very important for people like you that you have your radio station. For a lot of people that I met at the conference, that they're doing their job, and I'm really happy for that. I'm really happy for them, and I'm glad that they're doing that because I know that we will see the fruits of that in the future, especially in the few years that are coming. In this year, we're gonna see more than that we saw last year and the year before. So we're gonna see the fruit. We're gonna start seeing the fruits of this. And the last Bible verse that I would like to share is in Revelation chapter 3, verse 20, and it says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come to him and I will sup with him and he with me." So this is telling us, because the book of Revelation, I mean, we already know that the whole Bible is already done, it's already complete, except for the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is something that is about to happen or will happen in the future. So God is telling us something that is actually happening right now at this very specific moment. He's telling us that he's knocking at the door. He's knocking at the door of our lives. He's knocking at the door of our hearts, because he's very eager to tell us the truth. He's very eager to inform us. He's very eager I mean, like I said at the beginning, we are the chosen people. He knows that because of all of these things that he has these revelations for us, because those things are revelations that he had for us since the beginning of times. He chose people like you and me to have these kind of revelations, about even the flat earth, even though a lot of people think that it's not very important, or at least for salvation. But it is, because if we understand the whole truth, if we understand everything, it's going to be easier for us to understand the rest of it,
Right.
and he's very eager, to let him into our lives, because he wants to be part of us. He wants to, like I said, he wants to be the provider. He wants to provide for us in everything, not only the material things, but also the spiritual ones. And we're talking about all those millions of people, it could be here in the U.S. or Canada or anywhere in the flat Earth. But I'm from Mexico, so I understand that there's a lot of people, millions of people, who've been brainwashed, indoctrinated by the religion, but the false religion of Catholicism and the Pope, and they still believe in that if they go to the Vatican, that just to see the Pope, they're going to receive something, like they're going to receive a miracle. And I mean, we need to change that. We need to do something about it, because for these people, the Pope is like an idol. It's like a celebrity. He's like a rock star, and the only person that is actually important is the person of Jesus.
Yes, absolutely, and I agree with you. And that is most excellent point to end the program on, because it ties together and unifies the entirety of the message. Because as we spoke about, and as was brought up in the chat room, most people don't believe that flat Earth or biblical cosmology has any bearing, any importance upon people's salvation. And yet, the truth of the matter is that for the next aspect of the agenda, that the ancient aliens are our creators and that they're coming to save us from ourselves. This revelation absolutely blows the lid off of the plausibility of buying into and accepting them or bending the knee before them, because God speaks about the strong delusion at the end of days that because they have no love of the truth, so many will buy into it that even the very elect could be deceived if it were possible. And I absolutely do see the connections with this, because this is the thread of scientism, that the foundation for it being built upon even the Sumerian teachings going back 6,000 years. They show this heliocentric model for the world. They declare that, the Sumerians built way stations on the moon and Mars, and that they were able to land on these places and build these colonies, which again is lie, and the fact that they support a heliocentric model is further confirmation as to how carefully orchestrated this and how carefully planned this deception has been by Lucifer and the powers that be, the Anunnaki, the Archons, and that it's so important to them that they would plant the seeds of its deception and the foundation for it 6,000 years ago, which again, the word of the Lord and the inspiration of the gospel is so very important for negating all of that. And so this deception is coming, and a lot of people are going to buy into it and accept the ancient aliens as our creators. And the Bible warns us that the Antichrist comes first, before the second advent and the return of Christ to redeem and to save us and to end the whole charade and to finish the game in completeness. Final comment, brother.
Yes, like you were
Just a couple
saying,
minutes.
yeah, like you were saying, it's a deception. But I also I've seen at least in the last 1 or 2 years, a lot of people who didn't even believe in God, and they
Yes,
started with
right,
flat Earth, and now they are good Christians and they're spreading the word, and that's very
right.
important. And on the opposite, the people from the church, the people from churches here in America and everywhere else, they're closing their minds to the flat Earth, and they don't want to listen to it. They criticize people like us. So we need to pray for them. We need to pray for all people, for Christians, for all the people that they actually need to open their eyes. So to the truth, and like the Bible said, that the truth will set them free.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's bringing liberty to the captives, and salvation is only through Christ. No matter what
Amen.
they try to tell you or what they try to that the ancient aliens are going to save us, none of that is going to happen. Only Yeshua pre-existed with the Father and the Holy Spirit. They are the pre-existing Godhead. All the others are just fallen angels parading as if they are gods. But they're nothing more than fallen angels. So that's an important fact that this information, this revelation, also affirms without doubt. And so, hey, brother, we greatly appreciate you, Carlos. I thank you for taking the time to join me. It's been a most excellent show. The people in the chat room really appreciate you, and thank you.
No, thank you. I was really happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the invitation that you made me at the conference. And I just thought about it, and I just did it because I wanted to do it. And I have my sons here listening to it, and they're really happy about it. So I was really happy to be here.
Awesome. They're the warriors, They're going to be the ones that so many people being deceived are going to look to. They're going to come up to them. Hey, you were talking about flat Earth. Can you explain that a little bit more? Help us to make sense of this, because, again, the ancient alien deception is completely dependent on the heliocentric Darwinian Copernican
I
model.
actually remember what you told my son at the conference, that he was a leader, and
Yes.
he's only 11, but he's already a leader because he's 11.
Yes.
And he already knows about flat Earth and all the truths.
Right. How far ahead of the game is he? My goodness.
Yeah, definitely. And we've been having Bible studies about that, about the alien deception, about they know about that.
Awesome. All right. Be blessed. Send my regards to the family. God bless all. Good night.
Thank you. God bless you.
Shalom.